Hello all and welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we take your favorite fictional characters and make them in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Today we are frantically trying to rectify forgetting that Daredevil and Wolverine came out last Friday with Wolverine. Wolverine is... Actually, do I need to explain who Wolverine is? He's one of the two superhero characters that even my mom knows. He's the guy with the claws. So beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. Logan, that's Wolverine's civilian name by the way, is a human. But he has the X gene, which we are going to replicate with the changeling heritage. This will make sense later, I promise. But for now, we get a boost to both strength and con, as well as a 25-foot land speed. Same as usual. At this point, I could recount the human stat block in my sleep. Wolverine's background consists of him wandering alone from war to war as an Immortal Warrior. So we are going to use the warrior background. This will give us a boost to both strength and con and training in intimidation and warfare lore. We also get Intimidating Glare, meaning we don't even need to know English to know that we should get out of Dodge. Okay, so let's cover what Wolverine is for the one person in the world who doesn't know him. First, the most obvious, he has claws made out of adamantium, allowing him to cut through virtually anything. Next, Wolverine's X gene gives him enhanced senses, from super scent to super taste. And finally, the ability that makes Wolverine one of the strongest heroes in the Marvel Universe. Wolverine's healing factor allows him to heal from just about any wound. He has even regenerated his body from a single cell before. We won't get that good, but we will definitely pick up some healing to enhance our survivability. For this build, we are going to go Barbarian to reflect Wolverine's quick temper and excellent offensive and defensive capabilities. As a Barbarian, we get Expert in Perception, reflecting our senses being a cut above the rest. We also get Expert in Fortitude and Will saves. Wolverine's Regeneration gives him both a high pain tolerance and telepathic resistance. We also get training in athletics plus 3 more skills of our choice. We also get training in both simple and martial weapons. Wolverine mainly relies on his claws, but when you live as long as he has, you pick up a thing or two. We also get trained in up to medium armor, meaning we don't have to worry about keeping our dexterity as high as most martials. For our attributes, we primarily focus on strength. We regularly go toe-to-toe with the Hulk. That takes strength. We also have Constitution to reflect our near indestructible body and super regeneration. Dexterity and Wisdom represent our enhanced senses and agility. They aren't our main powers, but they certainly help. For skills, Legendary Athletics helps us outpower opponents, after our Legendary Survival helps us track them down. We also get Master in Intimidation. Wolverine has the shortest fuse of all the X-Men. Acrobatics is that expert, letting us dodge enemy attacks. And we get training in Deception, Lore Warfare, Nature, and Society. Just things we picked up along the way. Okay, moving on to reminding you to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content. We'd love to be able to work on this more, and the first step is to get monetized so we can upgrade our equipment and our process. Okay, now it's really time for level 1. First off, we get an Ancestry feat. We are going to take advantage of our changeling heritage to pick up the Slag Mate Ancestry feat. This feat gives us a claw unarmored attack that deals 1d6 slashing damage with the grapple trait. There are plenty of ways to get claw attacks. Even the Barbarian can get one by going Animal Instinct, but we chose this method specifically for the lack of the Agile trait, which becomes more important when working with our Rage. Oh, and they are made out of cold iron, so we literally get metal claws at first level. We also get Rage, giving us 3 extra damage on all of our strikes, plus temporary hit points as long as we haven't gone into Rage within the last minute. For our Instinct, we are going to choose the Fury Instinct Barbarian, which lets us pick up another level 1 class feat. So let's pick up Acute Vision, granting us Dark Vision. We have Metal Claws and Super Senses right from level 1. That's probably the fastest we've ever got a build to feel like the character. And level 2 gives us another slam dunk with the class feat Acute Sense, giving us an imprecise sense out to 30 feet, meaning while we may not be able to track a foe's exact location, we can at least narrow it down to a single 5-foot square. At level 3 we get Toughness, giving us additional hit points. Even without regeneration, Wolverine can take one heck of a punch. We also get Furious Footfalls, boosting our speed by 5 feet or 10 feet while raging. At level 4 we get the class feat Supernatural Senses. It lets us lower the DC of hitting a hidden or concealed creature by 2, meaning we essentially no longer have to worry about invisible foes. At level 5 we get the Sense Allies Ancestry feat, meaning we always know the location of our allies as long as they remain within 60 feet. This will help you when X-Men do a crossover with the Fantastic Four and you need to locate the Invisible Woman. Level 6 lets us complete our class checklist and marks a first for the channel with the Deviant feat High Speed Regeneration. With this, at the beginning of each of our turns, we can use a free action to regain double your level's worth of hit points. However, this does come at a cost. When you select this feat, your GM selects a type of damage or a precious material that can prevent you from using this regeneration until the end of your next turn. Let's just hope they select something like a black blade rather than something super common like bludgeoning damage. Also, whenever you use this ability, you must make a DC 5 flat check. And the flat check DC raises by 5 for every time you've used it and haven't suffered backlash. Whenever we do finally fail this check, we become clumsy and enfeebled 1 until you take a bite of food. If you take the backlash again before you make daily preparations, you become enfeebled and clumsy 1 and fatigued until you eat a full meal, which takes 10 minutes. And if you push the regenerations to its extremes again, you become sickened 2, enfeebled and clumsy 1, and fatigued until you get a full night's rest and you can no longer use the regeneration. At that point, it might be best to let another X-Men tag in. Level 7 lets us use Heightened Sense to always be ready to leap into battle with the incredible Initiative General feat. We also get extra damage on all of our attacks with weapon specialization, and an increased fortitude save with the Juggernaut feature, granting us critical successes on all fortitude saves that would otherwise be just successes. At level 8, the Renewed Vigor gives us temporary hit points equal to our Con modifier. This isn't nearly as strong as High Speed Regeneration, but it can heal us over our maximum hit points, does not have the insanely high drawbacks, and is an infinite resource, so I'd say it's worth it. At level 9, we can use the multi-talented Ancestry feat to pick up the Ranger dedication, letting us use the Hunt Prey dedication, giving us a +2 circumstance bonus to survival checks, to track, and perception checks to seek, further enhancing our super senses if we use an action to focus in. We also get Raging Resistance, granting us resistance to all weapon damage and reflex expertise, boosting our reflex saves to expert. At level 10, we can get the Greater Awakened Power for our high speed regeneration. At this point, we can activate our high speed regeneration whenever we would go down to 0, rather than at the beginning of each of our turns, avoiding being knocked out and remaining at the number of hit points that we gain. Remember, nothing stops us from using this multiple times per round. Rules as written, we can use this until we fail 3 flat checks that start at a DC 5. This is broken. If I were running this at my table, this trigger would change this from a free action to a reaction. At level 11, we get the Fleet feat boosting our movement speed by 5 feet, and the Mighty Rage feature doubling our rage damage on the first strike we make on the first round of combat. Strike first and strike hard. It fits Wolverine's mindset pretty well. At level 12, we find the power was inside us all along with the Inner Strength feat, letting us use an action to automatically lower our enfeebled condition value by 1. Perfect if we are suffering from backlash for overusing our regeneration. At level 13, your instincts sing of spite and malice, and you've learned a devastating trick. Go for the eyes. With the Spiteful Rake Ancestry feat, we can take 2 actions to make a strike against the foe. If we succeed, the foe is dazzled for a round, and if we critically succeed, the foe is blinded for a round and dazzled until restored to full health. It's a dirty trick, but Wolverine is no Boy Scout. We also get medium armor expertise at this level, boosting our armor proficiency to expert, weapon mastery boosting our attack proficiency to master, and Greater Juggernaut boosting our fortitude saves to legendary, as well as counting all of our critical failures as regular failures, and halving any damage we take on a failed fortitude save. By level 14, we know that we are as close to indestructible as a Pathfinder character can get, so we may lean into the attack when we take them. Whenever we get hit, we can use our reaction to grapple the foe that hits us or disarm the weapon that they hit us with, probably by using our ribcage as an extra point for leverage. At level 15, the Fast Recovery General feat halves the time that it takes us to recover from a poison or disease by doubling the process we make with any successful fortitude save. We also get Greater Weapon Specialization at this level, maxing out the damage we do both in and out of rage, and Indomitable Will increases our will saves to master, and counting our successes in will saves to critical successes. Level 16 gives us Furious Vengeance, letting us retaliate whenever a foe critically hits us with an attack, letting us make a melee attack against them in return. At level 17, we get Advanced General Training to pick up the Super Taster General feat, letting us make a perception check to detect poison whenever we eat things to detect poison. We also get a +2 on our checks to investigate or recall knowledge, provided their taste gives us some information. People often forget that super senses means all of your senses, not just super scent and hearing. All barbarians also pick up perception mastery at level 17, and revitalizing rage lets us go into a rage and regain temporary hit points provided we have taken a round off rather than a full minute. That's good. I was starting to think that we didn't have enough ways to regain hit points. At level 18, we get Reckless Abandon, allowing us to throw caution to the wind. When we start our turn below half hit points, we go into a Berserker Fury, until our rage ends or we rise above half HP. We gain a +2 circumstance bonus on all of our saving throws at the cost of a -2 penalty to AC and a -1 to all saves. Ordinarily, throwing your defenses out the window when you are already so injured wouldn't be the best of calls, but you are a barbarian, half your hit points is still like 200 hit points, I think you'll be fine. At level 19, we get the Devastator feature and the Armor Mastery feature. Armor Mastery is pretty self-explanatory, but the Devastator lets us ignore up to 10 resistance with all of our attacks. Colossus better watch his back. And finally, level 20 makes us the Immortal Warrior with the Unstoppable Juggernaut class feat. We have so many hit points and can heal at a moment's notice. What could possibly make us more tanky? How about resistance 13 to all damage while we are raging? Does that sound like enough? No? Okay. Well then, how about being able to use our reaction while raging if we drop to 0 hit points to drop our rage and stay standing at 1 hit point instead? And if your unkillable nature hasn't caused your GM to rip his hair out yet, if they drop you to 0 again before you get a chance to react, you can use your free action high-speed regeneration to gain 40 more hit points. I think we need to move on. I'm getting angry just thinking about DMing this. Skill feats time. Everyone's favorite part of the video. Wolverine is strong, like really strong, so we give him feats like Cloud Jump and Hefty Holler and Powerful Leap to put that super strength to good use. We also get Combat Climber and Quick Climb, which makes sense, we have built-in batons. Rapid Mantle and Wall Jump lets us team up with Spider-Man, and Titan Wrestler for our rivalry with the Hulk. We also get Intimidating Glare, which we covered earlier in the background section, and Terrified Retreat to convince our foes that fighting the immortal guy with metal claws and anger problems might not be the best idea. And if they don't get the hint, the Too Angry to Die feat might help them get the hint after they riddle us with bullets that we promptly spit back out. Alright, now at this point we've made quite a few builds that focus on being indestructible powerhouses that are extremely difficult to take down. So let's compare and see how this one stacks up, shall we? Stitch is the build that most accurately matches this build, with the key differences being that Stitch's build focuses more on having a lot of options in any particular battle. As a result, this build will probably stay alive much longer than Stitch because of its massive healing factor, but Stitch can probably put out more of an impact on the battlefield if given the same amount of time. Stitch also has the ability to move around the battlefield with abilities like Pouncing of Leap and Flurry of Claws, meaning that even though Stitch technically has a lower movement speed, he will feel a lot more mobile than Wolverine. Kirishima is the only build that we've built that manages to get a higher AC than Wolverine, at least while in Mountain Stance or Fuse Stance, and that's not even counting for abilities like Deflect Arrows or Prevailing Position, which increase his AC further. Overall, these builds both feel extremely defensive for different reasons. Wolverine can take a ton of damage without worrying, as he can simply heal it off at the beginning of his turn, while Kirishima just increases his defenses to not have to take the damage in the first place. Finally, Alphonse is outclassed defensively by Logan in almost every way. Logan has more HP, equal AC, and better saves. But where Alphonse shines is in his versatility. Sure, the stats show that Logan is more defensive than Alphonse, but the stats can't account for Alphonse being able to shift the very battlefield around him, to put up walls to defend both himself and his allies within. Overall, rather than being able to deflect attacks with no harm, Logan's defensive nature focuses more on being able to take tons and tons of harms and still be able to push onward. Alright, so let's take a look at this build and see the monster we have created. First off, 368 hit points, resistance to all damage, and amazing self-healing. This guy is going to be a headache to put down. And our Barbarian Rage means that our attacks pack quite the punch as well. And if a foe seems resistant or otherwise hard to damage, we can just go for the eyes to blind them until the other X-Men find a way to bring them down. Finally, unlike other barbarians, we actually have something we can do outside of combat. Our super heightened senses ensure that when we aren't in a fight, we will definitely succeed at finding the next one. Or maybe it's our attitude that does that. But like any build, we do have our fair share of weaknesses. Our build is kind of one note. We don't really have a lot of different options in combat besides hit them, but in the eyes. Not only that, but if foes have a way of keeping their distance, be that flight or just quick movement, we are really going to start having trouble. And finally, we are extremely defensive to damage, but our reflex saves aren't particularly good. If foes throw an entangled or a spider web at us, we may start running into problems. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe. And make sure to comment below to tell us which characters you would like to see made in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And be on the lookout for our polls, they help us so much.